Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today I'm joined by Matto Phillips. How's things, mate?
Good.
We're holidaying
So
as
we are
as
holidaying.
this episode goes to air. We're both going on.
I feel like I should
find
have put a
ourselves on separate
background.
holidays, so it's not too late.
I should have got a green screen. No, I don't have the green screen around. Otherwise, I would have put it up and just put a tropical background. Even though I'm not going anywhere tropical.
Neither am I. I'm going to
Probably
Tasmania.
had a tropical shirt.
I think you've discussed it. Where are you off to?
I don't think I have discussed it.
Oh,
I just said I was away from this to this. I am going to Mordor.
you got the One Ring to toss in there.
The DVD, yes. The ring. I'm taking the ring
Okay,
to New Zealand.
you're off to Kiwi, the Hobbits. See the Hobbits. That's all right. I can get around that.
The Hobbit land.
Are you going to go to?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's on the tour or not, but we'll find out. If it is, then yes.
Ooh.
And then I could go around singing the song "We Are Taking the Hobbits to Isengard."
And get punched by someone because they've been hearing, like, on the tour, one of the
Like,
tour leaders, because they've been hearing that joke
yeah.
for 20 years.
Yeah, they'll be there going, "Oh God, here's some other dickhead doing that now." Like, oh,
They see someone in our age demographic, and they're like, "Oh no, these guys were teens when Lord of the Rings came out. This is going to be the worst."
the worst. All the quotes like "You shall not pass," and all
And
this.
yeah, the Taking the Hobbits to Isengard clip over and over and over.
Oh, well, Mr. Frodo,
Isengard,
Mr. Frodo.
God. Anyway,
Or where's my second breakfast?
11s and all those sorts. Yeah, lean right into it. Me, I'm off to
Where's
Tasmania,
Treaty?
so we're both going to places that are going to be probably cold. I mean, Victoria's not the warmest of places. We're probably going to places that are both colder than where we are now. So we'll report back in the next week where I think we'll be doing updates.
Who would have thought we would be going somewhere colder than we are now?
Yeah, that's
It's
not great.
not Antarctica, which would probably be warmer by the sounds of things.
Well, global warming, so we can go there. It might be tropical. It might be the tropical place we can go and visit at some point, if there's any of it left. All right. In 2002, there was more Antarctica, and we're going to talk about that for this episode.
It was colder.
It was a lot colder then too. We've been doing a few of these episodes, these recaps of a particular year. We've been just gradually, one by one, making our way through the century. When I say that, we've done 2 episodes so far. This is the 3rd.
One.
So we're going to talk about 2002. We kick things off with you, Matto, talking about some non-gaming related stuff before we kind of launch into all the very game focused sort of things. So go for it, mate.
Guys, so interesting year 2002 was. A lot of good things, a lot of bad things. We're going to look at the good things because I can't be bothered looking at the bad stuff. So we'll start off going back to Lord of the Rings. 2 Towers came out, but also on top of the 2 Towers, the best one, also had 2 Towers, Star Wars Episode 2, Ice Age.
The worst one.
The worst one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't. If anyone wants to debate saying what's the worst one, that is. If you can say Rise of Skywalker, that is incorrect. That is the best comedy out of the 9, and I will not hear anything else about that. I've watched it once and never again. Episode 9. 2, I've watched many times. I've watched Attack of the Clowns, is that as I like to call it.
But you just watched it for Yoda, right? And his fight with Dooku.
Of course.
And
the really, really shit quote on sand. Where Anakin says he doesn't like sand.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's, yeah. It's just one of those things you look at and go, that's horrible.
George Lucas.
And Boba Fett became a Kiwi, as that's what happens.
You might see him while you're travelling as well. Well,
Aquaman's dad?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Good luck.
And also, Ice Age came out in 2002.
Fifth the Sloth.
Yes, the Thoth. Lilo and Stitch came out. Spider-Man, the old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, came out in 2002.
And then, so specifically for Matt Houston's sake, the hero, right? Chad Kroger, Nickelback hero.
Oh, yes. Yes. Wallet C. Why did I put that in my... Oh, how did I not come think of that?
I got you covered.
Oh. Yeah. Then also in 2002, gave me a bit of a laugh because I completely forgot about it. Michael Jackson dangled his kid over a ledge in Berlin.
Shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
the
even know it
thing.
was Berlin. Yeah, and I just remember I was looking at it going, yeah, I remember that. I mean, who doesn't back in 2002? Because let's be honest, he was a bit weird. I know he was weird in general, but in 2002, he just got really weird. For instance,
Um,
dangling kids over a ledge.
yeah, he'd already lost the plot at that point. And it was a slippery slope for however many years he kicked on for. I don't know, another 10?
Not even that. Oh,
When
close.
do
It
you...
was like another 8. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure it was around 2010, I believe, that he died. Somewhere in that area. 2009, 2010. Don't take
2009, yeah.
drugs. Just don't take drugs, kids. Stay away from them. Do not touch the still knocks. Bad. I think it's.
Acute
I don't think.
propofol intoxication. Whatever
Yes.
that is.
So, his doctor gave him too many drugs to sleep, and he
Slept
died.
really well.
I'm not, okay. Moving on. And this is a
Yeah,
great
continue.
one. The Osbournes premiered on TV.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. All this. Welcome to reality TV, people. That was I would call it the birth of reality TV.
No, we had Survivor
There
before
was
that,
others.
and we
There
had
was
Big Brother
Survivor,
before
but
that.
that was a competition though. This was just no competition. It was just some
Oh, yeah, okay.
stoner, some
Yeah,
stoner
okay.
and his
That's
idiot
fair.
kids and wife, just followed him around with someone who clearly has no idea what's going on or what time it is. It hasn't for the last 20 years at that point.
Yeah, not much is
And
different,
then
really. He just doesn't have a
not,
TV
not
show based on his life.
not much has changed anymore. And then going off, this is another movie. The Bourne Identity was
Oh,
released in
yes, okay.
cinemas.
There's a good pick.
Oh, Matt Damon, classic Matt
Matt
Damon.
Damon.
And then Apple releases the Gen 2 of the iPod, which we talked about this one last time. Last year, the year before, they released the iPod with 1 gigabyte of storage. This one had 20 gigabytes of storage. So plenty of room for music back then. Now, 20 gig, people just laugh at, think that's nothing. And here's another classic one. The Winter Olympics were held in Salt Lake City, Utah. And for any Australian that may
Oh my
remember,
god.
it was
Is that
also
Olympics?
when Stephen Bradbury won without even trying for gold, where 4 other dickheads fell over at the last minute.
Oh my god, I
Yes,
didn't
that was
realize
that
that
year.
was the year.
That
It's
was
been
the
that
year.
long.
It has been that long. He won 2, but let's be honest, the Stephen Bradbury one is the more important one because ever since then, whenever someone falls over or stuffs up, it is all now called a Bradbury.
Doing a Bradbury.
You're just there, mind your own business, like he did in that race, because he knew he wasn't going to win. He wasn't. Everyone else was like world champion skaters, and he was just some dude who just
Some pleb who actually somehow made the cut.
got into the final. How he did it, we don't know, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, he looked around, saw 4 people on the ground. He went over the finish line. He won gold, while the other 4 staggered over, tried to get silver and bronze.
It's so good that it happened right at the very end as well. So
It
like
was.
you see those other
You
guys
see the
like
devastation
flinging
and
their
the
bodies and
devastation.
scrambling to get over the line.
Yes, the absolute devastation of just seeing a casual guy just go around on his skates over the finish line. Like you said, final lap 2, and the rest is history. And then going on to one of our favourite people, or once favourite person, now world-renowned dickhead, Elon Musk, found SpaceX.
In 2002.
Yeah. Didn't know
Right.
it was a thing back in 2002. I thought it was later on than that. But that might have
Huh.
been Tesla. And then, speaking on the space things, the Mars Odyssey finds signs of large ice deposits on Mars. So, and yet we still haven't found a
Yeah,
way
we
to
haven't
live
done
on
anything
there.
since. It's been a bit of a
Nothing
mess.
except for that.
We've wasted time.
And then, continue on with reality, American Idol premiered.
Yeah, okay.
That's when and Kelly Clarkson won. And ever
one of
since
the few
then,
people that competed
yeah,
and won
let's be honest.
one of those
The,
series that actually is relevant still.
let's just say the only person, because I don't know anyone else. There are others, but I don't know if they won
There's
or
more
not.
runners up that have become
Yes,
significant, or like runners up,
there's
or
just,
kind of
I'm pretty
other.
sure.
Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Adam Lambert didn't win.
Yeah, Adam Lambert was there, but even his, I guess, relevance has kind of dropped off a little bit more recently. But he did have a decent career for a while afterwards.
There's this other guy called Daughtry.
Yeah,
Chris
that's
Daughtry.
exactly who I was thinking of. Yeah, Chris Daughtry, who then had his own band afterwards that were doing good things for a while. I think again they've kind of fallen off maybe in the last 5 to 10 years, but
They still
kicked on
make
for a
okay
while.
music.
Yeah,
The music's still good. It's just, yeah, it wasn't crappy pop. They just went to be real rock stars,
yeah.
like Nickelback. Not quite Nickelback. They're not to that point yet.
Yeah, Chris Daughtry hasn't
No.
spoken about getting pants down people's feet and any of those sort of things yet. So
Oh, look at this graph or nothing like that. He hasn't peaked there yet. And then the first version of Mozilla Firefox, which back then
Really?
was called Phoenix 0.1. It has come a long way since. I know. And then finally, Top Gear premieres on the BBC. That's
Sorry,
all
what?
the good stuff.
what was that
Top
last
Gear.
one? Oh, Top
Top
Gear.
Gear. Top Gear.
That's an interesting start. I guess you avoided some of the negatives, which is fair enough because 2002 wasn't the greatest of years for humankind when it comes to some of the things that were going on. I'll toss it over to you because you've got a list of the top selling games here in Australia before we kind of move on to some of our favourites of that particular year. I've also gone and dug up one little fact from the year as well.
Ooh.
We can talk about beforehand as well. Gaming related fact, but
Okay. All right. So it's a weird one, Australia. Just I looked and gone, what the hell were we smoking when this top 10 came along? So I'll start at the bottom. We'll go from 10, and we'll make our way to 1. 1, I think the one that is at number 1 makes sense for the time, but then there's a couple others that you scratch your head at and go, what the hell? But at number 10 was Gran Turismo 2, which, was that a PS2 game or PS1
no,
game?
that was still PS1. Gran Turismo 2.
Yes.
It came out in 1999, so it was still.
Still selling in
that said,
Australia.
GT2 has done absurd numbers. So, I'll see if I can find.
And being back in those days, they were the platinum days. So
yeah, true. It'll be your platinum copies and those sort of things, and of course they'll still work on your PS2 as well. So there's a little bit of sense it makes. So.
And then at number 9,
at least 10 million copies sold too. So
10 million. 10 million. Number 9, which I thought was a little bit low, GTA 3, but it also kind of makes sense because it was only on PS2 at the time. I don't remember if it was. I can't remember. It did come to PC later, but I don't know when it came to PC.
No, not right away.
Not right away. It came, I don't know, like a year or two later, but it wasn't exclusively PS2 game back in the day.
But also, I guess the thing around GTA 3 is it was actually a 2001 title. So,
yes,
the bulk of its sales would have been 2001 and then dropped off. It's not like GTA now where it just sells all the time, constantly. It would have started to slide at that point.
Yeah.
Not to mention because you would have had Vice City come out the next year, and then you would have had San Andreas the year after that. So, like, people are kind of moving on to the next GTA quicker.
Yes, and then the next one, which was an odd one because it was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which it did come out that year. Which, funny enough, I did put it in my list for some reason. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets came out in 2002. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it too. Not as much as Two Towers, but
and obviously not
still.
to mention the fact that obviously the Harry Potter phenomenon was well and truly on the rise at the time. So. It makes sense, like people just gobbing up anything and everything they could. But that game was a pretty good game. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that was probably the best of all the Harry Potter games.
And surprising that it was, usually back in those days, movie games were horrible.
Yeah.
But Alex, actually, though, the Spider-Man game was actually not bad as well.
You'd always get a few, but
weird.
There was so
But
many of
most
them.
of the
You're
time, they were
bound to get a few that
horrible.
are okay, but yeah, most were shit.
And then at number 7 is GTA Vice City.
There we go. Okay, it's a bit lower than I would have
Yeah, a
expected then.
bit lower. Yeah, it's weird. And then number 6, Halo, was at number 6, which kind of does make a little bit of sense,
Yeah,
but
right.
at the same time, doesn't. Then number 5, Medal of Honor Frontline,
Yeah,
which
okay.
kind of makes sense because it was on both consoles at the time, so it wasn't necessarily an exclusive.
Well, it was on all three then, because your Xbox, GameCube,
It
and
was on
PS2 were
GameCube,
out,
but it came out
and
later on
PC.
GameCube, I think, and PC. Then number 4 was Gran Turismo 3. And then number 3 is an absolute doozy.
Yeah, right,
And
go
it
on.
just
What do you got?
scratches head. No, number 8, V8 Supercars. Yeah, I pulled
Yeah.
that face too. I was like, hang on, I know V8 Supercars is a big thing, but I didn't think in gaming terms it outdo Gran Turismo 2 and 3.
The industry was very different at that time.
Made by Codemasters, who
Yeah, that's
also
fair.
made Game On Cricket. Well,
But
I can't believe
also
that.
millions
No
of racing games.
remaster. Why is there no remaster of Shame On Cricket?
Come on,
It's a
PlayStation, you
bloody
cowards,
outrage.
put it up as a PlayStation Plus game for
Absolute
the month.
bloody outrage. Number 2, Gran Turismo 3 A Spec, which I have no idea what that is.
I can't remember what A-Spec was.
Is it just a special edition
No.
game? No.
A-Spec
They are.
was...
Selling it off to some other suckers for the exact same game at the exact same price.
I think it was almost like a GT5 prologue sort of thing. I think it was like it was kind of like a part game if I remember. But it sold 14 million copies.
Oh, is that all? Only.
Marked the series first for a... No, that's just... Yeah, I think that's just GTA 3. Sorry, GT3.
Oh.
No tricks to it, yeah.
Okay. No tricks. Okay. And then
Yeah,
number
that's
1.
right. Yeah, the third one was just called A-Spec, yeah.
Okay. Then number 1, which you look at and go, oh, it kind of makes sense because the other 2 games were cool, was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
Yeah, okay.
Which back in those days, all the kids wanted to be cool and skateboard anyway, so it kind of makes sense. Because Tony Hawk back in the days was just massive.
Is that a... So, interesting though, that was a 2001 game, so not a...
But in Australia, it was the number 1 selling game.
Oh, yeah, like it just would have had legs throughout the entire year. I mean, it came out, like, for the PS2... Yeah, see, actually, yeah, like, PS2 it was 2001, but then GameCube, not until launch, so May of 2002, Xbox, March of 2002, Game Boy Advance, March of 2002, PC, March and May of 2002, 64, 2002. Yeah, so like the PS2 had the
Wait,
jump
it was
on
on
it.
64?
Yeah, it came out on the 64.
Okay.
But the PS2 had the jump, but then every other platform afterwards got it in 2002. So you would have had people still on PS2 picking it up, as well as all the people picking up new platforms as well. So, and the PC community.
Oh, yes, the cereal box. Oh, wait, no, that was 2.
When did
Old.
4 come out? 4. Yeah, 4. Okay,
What?
yeah, cool.
Way long.
No, 4 was 2002. Because I was going to discuss
Really?
it for this episode. Yeah.
Oh, so back to back. That's unheard of.
That's all. That's
Tony-
that's how
Tony-
everything was.
Tony
back then.
Hawk. For Tony Hawk, it was. Or maybe not. I don't know. Dude, those were the days where they just make games year after year after year
Yeah, because
after year.
Pro Skater 2 was 2000. It was in 2000. So, yeah, that was just knocking them out 1 year at a like back to back year. Yeah, in fact, it was 99, 2000, 2001, 2002 for those first 4.
Oh,
They,
there you go.
they crashed them out. They're not as crazy of a list as I'd first expected, but yeah, there's some odd ones, maybe with some of the placement, those sort of things, or things that I expected to maybe be higher, and then obviously, yeah, an interesting...
A lot of driving games. That's what sort of threw me off.
Yeah.
No action, all driving. No Pokemon. But there was no Pokemon. Oh, there was a Pokemon game, but...
We were still waiting for it.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Ruby and Sapphire were, yeah, a little bit longer. All right. Well, before we jump into kind of, I guess, our favourite games from that year, I jumped onto Metacritic, and it has everything compiled by year, and you can take a look at all the
Oh,
games, which is a handy resource for everything that we're talking about. But I decided to not focus on page 1 of the list, but scroll
what was the
all the
worst
way back
game?
to page
What was the worst
23.
game?
In the year 2002, the five. Hang on, let me get that back. The 536th ranked game, dead last, is a game called Gravity Games Bike. Hang on. Gravity Games Bike, Street Vert Dirt. It has a Metascore of 24 and a user score of 1.4.
Whoa.
Interestingly,
I want to know what this game
there
is.
was one outlet called Game Zone that gave the game a 70, which is then pulled the score up. I can only imagine. I should be able to do it with basic maths, but because there's some herbs and spices that goes into the way that Metacritic ranks or like weights different outlets, you can't do it perfectly. But yeah, when you take games, in fact, there was 3 that kind of gave it at least a middling score. Game Zone gave it a 70. PSX Nation gave it a 60. Media and Games Online Network gave it a 60. And then everything else is 40, 34, 20. IGN gave it a 20. GameSpy gave it a 20. Game Informer gave it a 20. GameSpot gave it a 17, which I guess was probably a 1.7
What about
based on their score.
Hyper Magazine?
Gaming Age
Hyper
gave it a
Magazine
0.
there.
Hyper's
Zero?
not listed there. Hyper's not listed there.
A 0.
Yeah, a horribly unplayable, ugly mess. Gaming Age described it as. So
I want to know what this game is.
the official US PlayStation magazine said, in the ongoing competition for the PS2's worst title, this game undershines them all.
Give that man a raise. That's brilliant.
Um,
Oh,
Game
man, that
Informer
was
said, I'd
right
say the
back
physics
in
were bad, but I'm afraid that Albert Einstein would rise from the grave and stab me with a protractor for using the word physics in the same sentence as gravity games.
Oh, those were the days of creative writing. Now it's just
If ever a game
rubbish.
deserved the term played out, it would be this one. IGN, easily one of the worst games I've ever played, and at one point I had ET. And at one point I had ET for my Atari.
Oh, that says something for ET, especially. Mostly
Yeah.
dubbed one of the worst games ever made. Most of them in a landfill in Las Vegas, in
So
Nevada.
congratulations, Gravity Games Bike, Street Vert Dirt.
I mean, they couldn't come up with a better name. Bike.
Absolutely
What
not.
do we ride? A bike. What do we do? Street, dirt, vert. Done. Sell it.
All right, so let's jump into the more positive side of things now. We'll go kind of different platforms at a time. We'll go the PlayStation vertical, we'll go the Nintendo one, we'll go Xbox, we'll go PC, and anything else. Maybe starting with some PlayStation stuff.
You probably have to be this because I was only a GameCube kid back in
True.
2002.
Look, I wasn't even. I don't even know if I had my PS2 by the time 2002 rolled along. But of course, we did touch on it a little bit from the sales list before. Like GTA Vice City came out that year.
Oh yes.
So that's the second highest ranked game on the platform. But obviously, yeah, people can't go too far without thinking about that. Oh my God, Hawthorn nearly won. As we record this,
What?
They nearly pinched the match. But anyway, GTA Vice City is sitting there. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 we touched on as well, was one of the highest reviewed games that year. There's the annual sports games that all kind of fill that list up. But yeah, you were talking about things like Medal of Honor, and we spoke about it off camera, I think last week or the week before when we were kind of talking about this episode coming up, that they launched both Allied Assault and Frontline in the same year that year. Allied Assault was a pretty damn good game. Frontline, I'd argue, even better. But like those two were awesome. Though I think a bit like you, my memories of that were linked to the game, or Frontline specifically were linked to the GameCube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently Star Wars Jedi, which one's that one? Oh, Jedi and Knight Outcast 2 came out that year,
Oh yes.
but I don't know if that's for all platforms. GameCube. Oh, maybe it didn't come to PlayStation. That's a weird one.
I know,
GameCube,
it's a bit
PC,
it's a bit
Xbox, Nintendo
weird.
Switch.
Uh,
Yeah.
I sort of found the games a bit weird because they were released on one console first, and then maybe 6 months to a year later, it would come out on the other console. And I was
Yeah.
scratching my head trying to figure out why is this released this year when it came out last year. Then you start digging into it and going, I see. Like GTA 3, for instance, because I was scratching my head going, wait a minute, that came out in 2001. And then you
Yeah.
dig through it and go, it came out on PC or Xbox or whatever it was. You go, okay, so now it's just starting to get bloody confused in what's coming out.
I mean, you had NBA 2K2 come out in January of 2002 and NBA 2K3 come out in October of 2002. I think that clearly in that year was the first year they've gone, okay, we now need to kind of adjust the naming thing and pull it across. But yeah, they launched 2 of those in the same year. You had some Need for Speeds kicking around. So like you had Hot Pursuit. I think it was Hot Pursuit 2. Yeah, Hot Pursuit 2 came out that year. We touched on the Medal of Honors, Tiger Woods. Again, kind of the annualized sporting games kind of popped up a little bit here. I don't know if it was necessarily the craziest kind of year for PlayStation. I think GTA did the bulk of the heavy lifting. I will shout out though that Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus came out that year, and that does all the heavy lifting as far as I'm concerned. But there's Sly Cooper. Kingdom Hearts came out that year. The first Kingdom Hearts. Hitman 2 came out. Burnout 2 came out that year. So not the best one, because Takedown was the third game. But Suikoden 3 came out. The original Ratchet and Clank came out that year. Time Splitters 2 came out that year.
Yes, it did. Using the old GoldenEye Perfect Dark sound effects for shooting. Why not?
Good decision me to filter this specifically by PlayStation, because now it's a little bit easier. I definitely missed a few games there. But Onimusha 2 came out that year. Not that I'm kind of crazy about Onimusha, but I know a lot of people are. Deus Ex even made its way to PS2 that year. Now, that's not technically a 2002 release. It came out, I think it was 2000 for the original Deus Ex, but it came across the PS2 there. Jedi Starfighter came out that year. There's so many sports games. Anyone was saying the same.
Sports games were ridiculous back in the early 2000s. Just sports games for everything, like Big Bass Hunter, badminton, FIFA, lawn bowls, 10-pin bowling, you name it. It was a game.
There would have been a sports game.
It's ridiculous. Winter Olympics, sure, that would have been there. Jamaican bobsled team, that was there.
Definitely starting to trend towards the bottom of the list now. So, but there's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which we've touched on. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger came out that year.
Really?
Little Aussie product.
Ty.
Which, whenever you go down to Acme in the city, you'll see Ty there in prime view still. Parappa the Rapper 2 came out that year.
Oh my god. Wow.
So,
talk about feeling old. Just remember, 15 years till 50.
Ghost Recon came out.
The first one. Bloody hell.
That said, wasn't received overly well. I'm now into the 60s when it comes to Metascores at this point.
We're getting low.
Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, which I so desperately wanted it to be good, considering my love of all the Spyros on the PS1. But at that time, I didn't have the understanding of the different teams working on it. I'm like, it's going to be just as good as the other ones. What is this shit?
Was that on Game Boy Advance?
Probably.
Because I know a lot of games, like especially PlayStation games, were going to, what was it, the Game Boy Advance. Even Crash Bandicoot was on Game Boy Advance. I was like, hang on, that makes no sense. That's not a PlayStation.
There was that point where they were just popping up everywhere. Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future.
See, that's just silly.
Dreamcast has an 84. PS2 has a 71, so there's something clearly wrong there. But anyway. All right, let's move on to the platform that, I think both of us would much rather talk about when it comes to this particular year, and that is the whole Nintendo vertical, really. But what were some of your favourite games from that particular period of time?
Well, we can start off with Medal of Honor Frontline. I played that game many, many times. Mainly just the first mission, because if you ever played Saving Private Ryan or watched Saving Private Ryan, it's not exactly the same. It's just that whole being on the Normandy beach.
Storming the beach.
storming the beach, and then there's the rest of the game, which is also very good. Just casually, I don't know what the story is, to be honest. Just
Well,
go
but
to a
nothing
town,
compares to
shoot
that
some
first level.
people.
Like that first level is just something
Oh
else.
yeah, and then you finish, and then you play the rest of the game. You think, I'll just go back and play the first level again, just for funs.
Pretty much.
And that's all I did for like the first 3 hours of that game was just go back to that first level and just get silly, pointless achievements that don't mean anything, and just have a fun time. And then there was another game, an underrated game that I don't think got a lot of attention because for its time, especially on Nintendo, it wasn't the type of game you usually think with Nintendo. And that was Eternal Darkness.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a
Still
very,
classic in the horror space.
it is, and it's a very underrated game too because I remember playing it as a kid. Probably shouldn't have.
No,
I
probably
was
not.
scared. But there was
Who
a
cares?
story behind it. I was like, and I really, really regret not buying the game because
Why
I'd
did you
hate
just
to
rent
look
it?
at what the. I rented it because, like I said, it wasn't my type of game back then. Now look at it and go, I really wish I brought it.
Yeah,
But at the same
yeah. I
time,
can't
like
imagine it's
GameCube
going. I
games.
can't imagine it's cheap now.
Oh no way! I remember I looked at it. I think it was a fire. What was it? A Fire Emblem game on GameCube.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
A lot. Probably a kid deal.
You
May.
can
Oh,
buy
that's
Eternal Darkness for $70 on eBay right now.
really.
Yeah,
That's actually a bargain for that game. If that's the case,
and
I
it's a
might have
buy
to.
it now too. So, box and game, no manual, but which is probably what pulls the price down. But complete in
No,
box,
no.
137. That's got everything. That's none of these are crazy numbers. That's not too bad.
Say for a game that wasn't that popular, or not, wouldn't say that popular. It's just compared to what other games came out in 2002 on the GameCube, it got buried a little bit by some of the other games that came out, which is unfortunate. But
Well, I mean, the 64 still had a few good games coming out that year. Game Boy Advance was
Wait.
doing all right.
wait, they're
Well,
still making 64 games in 2002.
Yeah, I mean, hell, we were talking
Really?
about we were obviously talking about Tony Hawk before as kind of an example, but yeah, there was still like a few that would have been coming out at a particular point. I'll see if hang on, let me filter the list so I can get the specifics just to make
I
sure.
honestly thought like Conker's Bad Fur Day was one of the last to come out.
Don't know why
on the
it's now suddenly
64.
saying no. I don't know why it's now saying no releases because Tony Hawk came out before, but so ignore that. But there were a couple, but most of the stuff, certainly to our point from the last time we did this, 2001 was when we saw like Paper Mario and those sort of things. Like that's when the console was really, really wrapping up at that particular point. But like the Game Boy Advance obviously was kind of in full stride at that point. So we got interestingly there, like they had the kind of remaster port, whatever, of Link to the Past, but it also came bundled with Four Swords Adventure, so you could kind of use the link
Yeah.
cables to play with four people.
Oh god.
Which not an ideal way to do it, but like,
Oh,
you do what you got to do,
so-
right? Metroid
so
Fusion
glad we
came out
don't-
that year in sync with Metroid Prime.
I'm so glad we don't have those cable days anymore. That were ridiculous, especially with Pokemon.
Well, yeah,
Oh, hey, you can't get this Pokemon on this game, so you have to trade to this game. It's like, oh, where the bloody hell's the call?
yeah. There was. I mean, Metroid Prime came out for the GameCube and Fusion for the Game Boy Advance, both the same day, which was, I guess, one of kind of the most epic 1-2 punches probably of all time. It's just a shame that people don't buy Metroid like they should.
Yes,
The
buy
Game
the
Boy
bloody
Advance.
game.
Yeah, like it's not hard. There's quality there.
And
And
it's
you
cheap.
just need to buy it.
You got a Switch. It's only like $60, not $120. You can buy it, and you'll enjoy it, and go, damn, this is a good game. And guess what? Hasn't really changed much since 2002. Maybe bits and pieces tweaked
Still
a little
good.
bit, but overall, if you went back and played the GameCube version, the only thing you'll pick out is probably the visuals, and maybe a couple other things here and there. But still, I look at that game and go, wow, I remember this like it was 2002.
Yeah,
Then it brings back memories. I thought, oh, and I finished it. It was a great game. Still is to this day.
hold up.
Still holds up. Like most of the GameCube games I find still hold up today, which is funny
Which
because
says
you
something,
play
yeah.
says something. You play Xbox games and they got that stupid like separated shoulder graphic design.
Yeah.
And then also same with PlayStation 2, you look at it and go, wow, that didn't age well. And then you look at something like
I mean, better than
GameCube, you look at the
PS1
games
games,
and go,
but yeah.
I'll say the Nintendo exclusives, which should narrow down to that. Not
Yeah.
so much every game that came to GameCube. If it was like something like Medal of Honor, it'd probably look better on PlayStation and Xbox because it didn't have the discs as big as what Sony and Xbox had.
We had a Tactics Ogre game come out that year. Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance came out that year, which was one that in particular I've played a lot of. Mega Man Zero came out that year. Sorry, I'm kind of rattling specifically through Game Boy Advance games at the moment. I never realised that Breath of Fire 2 got a Game Boy Advance port. That gives me the shits. I would have liked that.
Guess how much that's going to cost you now.
Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland came out that year.
Oh.
And I can see references to link cables for that too from the box art. So that's like, but yeah, again, like the GameCube was still getting good games. I mean, there's Lunar Legend there. There's a Dave Mirror game that came to Game Boy Advance, which I had no idea. Freestyle BMX 3 apparently was a Game Boy Advance game.
Oh, there you go. Didn't even know that.
You mentioned Lilo and Stitch before. There you go. It got a Game Boy Advance game.
I mean, they'll just shoot it just. I mean, Game Boy Advance games, there was some of the most ridiculous things on Game Boy Advance. Like, oh, hey, here's a game for this. They'll just absolutely just...
Anything.
Anything.
You mentioned before the Crash and Spyro games. Well, we obviously mentioned the Enter the Dragonfly on the GameCube and the PS2 and stuff, but there was Spyro 2 Season of Fire that came out for the Game Boy Advance that year. I kind of loosely remember playing that a little bit. Not loving it, but it was better than the console game that came out. Yeah, look, the Game Boy Advance kind of drops off a little bit, but there's still some pretty sweet games that kind of came out in that early sort of period there for it. So that just, I guess, takes us back to the GameCube. Were there any other GameCube games that you wanted to shout out from that specific year at all? We obviously mentioned Metroid, Eternal Darkness, Mario Sunshine came out.
But I think the big one, I hope it is 2002, is a little boy on a boat.
Wind Waker?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't 2002, was it?
Sure.
No, that wasn't 2002.
I could be wrong.
Animal Crossing did come out that year, though.
Did it?
Yeah. September 15th, 2002.
Wow.
So.
Hey, wait, whoa, hang on. Time out. It came out in Japan, 2002.
Yeah, sorry, because I'm looking at Metacritic, it'll be based around the West. Resident Evil 0 came out that year for the GameCube.
I remember playing Resident Evil 0.
So
I didn't like it.
Oh, you didn't?
I'm not scared.
Oh, Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, what was that? 2002?
Yeah.
Really?
September 23rd, 2002. So they dropped Animal Crossing and Star Fox less than a week away from one another.
Oh, wow. I mean,
quickly skimming through the list.
When you look back on that game, Star Fox Adventures, you look at it and go, it's stupid because there was no spaceship flying whatsoever, and it made no sense why Fox was going around with a stick belting up dinosaurs. It made absolutely no... When you look at it now,
because it was never meant to
no
be.
sense. I know. No, there was a Dinosaur Planet or whatever the hell.
Yeah, Dinosaur Planet. Because there was it leaked like the build, the final kind of build of the game in that state before it became Star Fox leaked, and I played it for like a player 2 plays a couple of years ago or whatever, which was kind of cool actually. There's Legacy of Kain Blood Omen 2 that came out that year, which would be on PlayStation as well, but I guess I didn't scroll far enough through the list, but they're on the GameCube. Did
Splinter Cell come out in 2002?
Yes, Splinter Cell came out, yeah, but keep in mind that was kind of Ubisoft had a little bit of a deal in place with Microsoft at the time, so they were kind of not permanent exclusives, but they were kind of timed exclusives. And then I
remember because people were trying to play that game and they had to press 7 different buttons to do the splits on the wall, and people hated it. You have to hold this, then this, then this, then hold that for 3 seconds, and then turn left.
Cross your fingers and toes. Yeah.
And sneeze.
Splinter Cell was kind of timed for a while, but then they eventually went the whole hog at one point with that Splinter Cell conviction that to this day has never left the Xbox 360, which sucks. But anyway,
Well, conviction, really? Was it an Xbox game?
which is, in the eyes of some, one of the best. Like, it was a really stylish and cool game. But yeah, it's still stranded on the Xbox 360. Well, I mean, I guess you could probably play it on Xbox One and Series through backwards compatibility, but in terms of
like, when Sam Fisher has a midlife crisis, is that one, or is on the run? Is that one?
Oh, yeah, maybe. I'm a bit too rusty on that level.
I know he's a double agent. Then there was the one after that. Is that the one after double agent? Was there another one?
Yeah, it's the one after double agent.
Okay, I think he's on the run.
It's the first one where they're like going really stylishly with like the wording and the descriptions kind of written up on the walls, almost like they were projected up on the walls and all that sort of stuff.
Ah, yes.
And that was kind of a huge deal at the time, but not anymore. So yeah, on the Xbox side, Tom Clancy came out. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind came out, which is kind of, I guess, a big moment because obviously that game is amazing and I love playing that game. But also in terms of, I guess, the Elder Scrolls games starting to kind of pivot to what they'd become with Skyrim and then never be seen for nearly 20 years afterwards. That was kind of a big moment with that particular title. Other than that, there's a lot of other games that are kind of doubles up with what we've already discussed on the Xbox side. Metal Gear Solid 2, Substance came across, or Substance, whatever they called it. Substance came across to Xbox that year. Were there any others though on that Xbox side? I feel like Jet Set Radio Future came out.
Never heard of it.
You've heard of Jet Set Radio though, right?
Possibly.
It's what that Bomb Rush Cyberpunk that came out last year, whatever. That was kind of really heavily based on.
Oh,
on that.
Right, yes.
But yeah, now as I start scrolling through the list, the Metascores drop very fast for the Xbox because there was nowhere near as many games. Halo had already had its moment, so not a lot on the Xbox side. But that was still kind of to come in some ways because you would have Fable coming down the line. You would have the KOTOR games and all those sort of things that were starting to fire up. So, any other games across any of those platforms or even PC that you wanted to touch on?
Not that I can remember.
I'm just bringing PC up now. For the most part, it's, again, a lot of the same sorts of games. But there was Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos, Neverwinter Nights came out that year.
Oh, Neverwinter Nights.
Which I really enjoyed that. Actually, I spent one of the few games I really committed to PC. But
the old BioWare classic.
Yeah. Unreal Tournament 2003, but coming out in 2002. They had the naming convention down before 2K did, apparently. Battlefield 1942 came out that year. Age of Mythology came out that year.
Wow, that hasn't aged well. 2042 is horrible.
What's that? I was like, Sid Meier's. Okay, that'll be interesting. Sid Meier's Sim Golf.
That just sounds like a piss take.
Icewind Dale 2, Heroes of Might and Magic 4.
Might and Magic?
Recon. Yeah, the Might and Magic games were pretty sweet back in the day. I dropped off by 4, but I love 2 and 3 in particular. They were amazing. EverQuest came out or is that an expansion? The Planes of Power. I'd have no idea whether that's an expansion or not. A great addition to the EQ. Yeah, okay, it's an expansion. Thanks, reviews. Again, just countless sports games.
Sports.
There's a Command and Conquer here. What's this?
Command
and Conquer Renegade.
Ah,
never played Renegade.
I think that's the first-person shooter. I could be wrong on that. There was one first-person shooter out of all of them.
Oh, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that felt like a real deep cut. The Sims Vacation came out that year.
Oh god, no! That's the first Sims 2. That's even more depressing. That's not even the Sims 2. Oh man. That was one of many expansions.
And now the game's getting old, and there's not even necessarily thumbnails for the box art. Silent Hill Silent Hill 2 director's cut apparently.
Wait, that director's cut's back.
They had a
in
director's
game
cut
back
for PC, yeah, apparently.
Okay.
But again, the meta scores are dropping off pretty rapidly at this point. So there's not. It seems like we've had two kind of huge years when it comes to 2000, 2001 so far. 2002 was probably a little bit of a drop off. In some respects, you had some like big hitters across a couple platforms there, especially the GameCube and the PS2, with obviously GTA 3 and Metroid Prime kind of heading them in terms of absolute kind of crazy high end pinnacle reception sort of stuff. But no, not far behind were the likes of Eternal Darkness and Tom Clancy, Splinter Cell, and Super Mario Sunshine. Sunshine's, even with a 92 Metacritic, I think Sunshine's underrated. I love that game. People just lost their shit because of some camera angles that weren't ideal.
Yeah. I mean, the camera angles sometimes were a bit annoying.
Yeah, the camera
overall,
great,
overall, it's a damn good game.
Yeah.
You and Flood. Well, his name's Flood. Yeah, it was Flood.
Yeah, Flood was
your water companion. Cleaning out all that graffiti in old shiny town. I don't even know what the place is called. Something fancy. Star Town.
Nah, it's gone.
Shine Town.
But I've just taken a little bit of a skim for whenever we do 2003, and yeah, we've got some bangers in here.
Ooh.
Your Wind Waker, for example. KOTOR is another example. Like, we're going to be going for a while with some high quality stuff from that year. Holy shit. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we'll hold off on that because we've got plenty more to discuss when that time comes. Any other thoughts from all things 2002?
We do have gaming events of 2002. It's a very short one.
I'll go on. Yeah, go for it.
So the first one, which has been Rockstar been doing for years now, Rockstar embroiled in controversy with GTA 3 and Vice City, and to this day, it hasn't stopped.
Oh, is that the hot coffee mod?
That was San Andreas. I think it's just more. I think it's just more, violence and stabbing hookers and all that crap. Parenting. That's all I look at it.
Yeah, people blaming GTA for the fact that their kids are just shit.
Robbing cars. No, trust me. If that's the problem, if people are robbing cars, they're not playing GTA, and the people that are playing GTA are actually, playing GTA and not going outside. That's how gaming works, people. That's how video games work. Xbox Live is launched in 2002.
Yeah, okay.
I know. Surprised the internet worked that well back then.
Well, they were the only ones that kind of had the port in the back. PlayStation had to buy an accessory. Yeah. GameCube didn't have it.
No, didn't have it at all.
I think, again, you had to buy an accessory, I think, if they even had any games that supported online. Can't remember.
I doubt it. Then this one. Squaresoft and Enix merge, becoming Square Enix.
Interesting. I thought that was 2003, but...
Could be 2003. If so, that page was lying to me if that was the case.
Yeah.
2003.
You give me a moment of panic here, only because I've been writing an article for an upcoming book.
That would have been dangerous. Either me stuffing it up or you stuffing it up. If that's the case, you'll look like a downright...
April 1st, 2003. Which is funny that's April 1st, but yeah.
What good joke.
April 1st, 2003. Like, Enix had a game come out the day before. And then,
really?
Then they officially merged the next. They might have announced it, but then it closed. That might be the difference in our.
Oh, okay. So
they might have announced it, then the deal closed a few months later or whatever.
I see. So you could sort of say the thing with Microsoft purchased
Activision, for example.
Activision, that was back in 2019, and then it closed last year.
Yeah, it could be something like that.
And finally, this was a big disaster. This final gaming event, and it's been a disaster ever since. Microsoft acquires Rare. It is one of the most devastating stories, because ever since Rare went to Microsoft, they haven't done well. Or just have made games that people remember and go, ooh, I remember that game. We had Grabbed by the Ghoulies. No one cares about that. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. No one talks about that because they don't want to. Perfect Dark Zero, not that great. What else did they do? They did something else that was really bad. Oh yeah, all those Kinect games, horrible. You can find them all at cash converters if you're really looking for them.
Yeah, Viva Pinata was an early win,
Oh,
but
Viva Pinata, yes.
that was an actual early win. But yeah, otherwise it was rough going early days. Wasn't a good time.
Oh, well, Cameo. They had was it Cameo?
Oh yeah, Cameo was good actually. That was an Xbox 360 launch title. But yeah,
But it's been very miss and disappearance at best.
yeah. Well, that is 2002 anyway. As I've kind of alluded to, we've got a lot of games, a lot of high quality stuff. I'm seeing some like personal favorite games that are now here on like the 5th page of the Metacritic listings. So there's some bangers coming up. So we'll save that for whenever we decide to do 2003, whenever there's a good week for it. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode. If you haven't already done so, be sure to go like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Heaps of awesome content you'll find there in terms of shorts and full-length videos. Matto?
No, that's all right.
Oh.
As I say, did the Two Towers come out in 2002 or 2003? I feel like it'd be 2003, being that the movie came out Boxing Day of 2002.
Oh, the game.
The game that everyone talks about. It's like, bring this back, you cowards. EA, remake those two games.
October
as well.
21st, 2002.
Oh, it was wait, it was before the movie?
Apparently, yeah.
How's that work? Hey, how do you ruin a movie with a game? I don't understand, but it's a book as well, so that still makes no sense. I don't know. That's confusing.
Yeah, I got nothing there. Hang on. Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. Yeah. It came out before. I don't know. Go figure. I would have just refused to play it like at that particular point when they were just basically copying the movies. Visit the website player2.net.au for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, links to the podcast series, patch, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, kicking a few bucks, lower tiers, early access, high tiers, monthly episode exclusives. And finally, there's Twitter. Matto.
Matto_Phil.
Paul, James Games for myself. The website's player2au. We'll be back properly next week to do our updates episode. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you later.